We begin this afternoon with the bushfire emergency gripping New South Wales and Queensland. The New South Wales government has declared a week-long state of emergency. That's ahead of devastating conditions forecast for large parts of the state tomorrow. The Greater Sydney, Greater Hunter, Illawarra and Shoalhaven regions are now on alert for catastrophic fire danger, with strong winds and temperatures expected to climb into the high 30s and, of course, already dry conditions there. This is the first state of emergency in New South Wales since 2013. Authorities are warning residents not to be complacent with a total fire ban in place across the state for the next 48 hours.
We know the weather forecast for tomorrow is at catastrophic levels, and based on that, plus the conditions we've experienced in the last few days, I've accepted the advice of Commissioner Fitzsimmons and declared a state of emergency across New South Wales. This means that Commissioner Fitzsimmons has authority to undertake whatever he needs to do, whatever decision he needs to take to ensure that we protect life and property as much as possible tomorrow. I want to assure the people of New South Wales that this is a precautionary stance.
We've been experiencing over the last couple of weeks 6, 10, 12 kilometres spotting activity and multiple spots, multiple ignitions occurring ahead of the main fire front. The flammability of the fuels, because of the lack of moisture, is highly volatile. Fires are starting extremely quickly, easily and spreading very, very quickly. The risk is real.
So the situation looking forward is a grim one. Over the weekend just past, 3 people were killed in the fires, at least 150 homes destroyed as well. Firefighters are working around the clock at the moment, trying to gain the upper hand on more than 60 fires currently burning across the state. Reinforcements have been sent in from across the country, with fears that crews won't be able to contain all the fires before tomorrow's hot and windy conditions begin. We've got our reporters live on the scene. Emily Burley joins me live from Taree on the New South Wales mid-north coast. Emily, what's the scene where you are at the moment?
Well, Tom, we're at Taree Showgrounds where livestock and people are being evacuated to. It's one of a couple of evacuation centres in Taree and many more on the mid-north coast. Of course, people getting ready for those extreme and catastrophic conditions tomorrow. We have just come back from Wallaby Point where significant backburning was taking place. Of course, firefighters concerned that if that area, that scrub, was to burn in uncontrolled conditions, it would pose a serious ember threat to the homes in that area. Wallaby Point and Old Bar are one of the worst affected areas by these fires so far, particularly from Friday. A lot of land has burnt there, but fortunately not too many homes have been lost in that area because of the hard work by the Rural Fire Service and New South Wales Fire and Rescue. However, we did stop at one home that had been destroyed in Old Bar. We spoke briefly with the owner. He said that was actually the second time in 6 years his home had been destroyed by fire. Nothing much could be salvaged there. He said his family will now think seriously about whether to rebuild and try their luck for a third time or move on altogether. But of course, as we said, a number of fires are burning. They're unlikely to be controlled. So the message at the moment is to have a bushfire survival plan in place with multiple escape routes. That's one of the main messages we've seen firsthand here on the coast over the past couple of days, how quickly things can change. You can be driving in one direction and the road closes and you head back in another direction and that road's closed as well. So multiple escape routes is important, but even better to leave early, to leave now ahead of these dangerous conditions. As I said, evacuation centres have been open for a number of days now. We've spoken to some people who have been away from their homes for a couple of days. They said they might return home today to try and further fortify their properties before those conditions tomorrow. Other people, though, said they will be staying away from their properties altogether, which might be a good idea. But the main idea, the main message, as you've said, is not to be complacent. There are concerns that people in these areas will think that they won't be affected by these fires. It couldn't possibly happen to them, or that they're too far into town to be affected by these fires. So, Tom, as you said, remain vigilant and leave now if you can.
Emily, thank you. We'll keep updated right throughout the afternoon as well on this situation. Look, it's expected to get worse tomorrow, but obviously still unplaying today as well, unfolding today. Stella Todorovic has more as well from the Taree Showground, where more than 100 people are seeking refuge.
Sky News understands looting began last week when residents were initially evacuated from their homes. Police are looking into these reports, and Mid-Coast Mayor David West has told Sky News that people are taking advantage of the bushfire crisis.
The only bastards out there are the people that are taking advantage of empty homes, going inside and looting, and that is happening. Now, what we can do about that when you've got people trying to preserve life, that's a difficult thing. All I can say is these mongrels have got to live with themselves.
More than 100 people are seeking refuge at Taree Showground, and more than 700 have made their way through the Club Taree Evacuation Centre, painting a picture as to how many homes are currently abandoned. Residents over the last couple of days have shared their stories of survival. Tinanny resident Shaz Chamberlain has told Sky News the most frightening aspect of the ordeal is the danger of falling trees.
Now, the worst thing I'm going to tell you guys when you can get in is the falling trees. What we experienced, and a noise we'll never forget, is a crack. You hear a crack, and then a big tree comes down, and it comes with embers, it comes with smoke, and it comes with fire. The minute the wind starts, that's when they go, and the wind started. At one point, I told Tim, the driver, stop, and I told Brody, who was holding the horse, to go, because one came straight down in between us.
Tomorrow's conditions are tipped to be worse than those of last week, and Mayor David West is concerned that if the conditions are as bad as predicted, as many as 100 homes could be lost tomorrow alone.
We've also got hundreds of schools across New South Wales are going to be closed tomorrow, with the state set to experience those catastrophic fire conditions. Charlotte Mortlock joins us live now from Blacktown. Charlotte, talk us through the school closures.
Tom, the Department of Education has confirmed that more than 200 schools across the state and dozens across Sydney will be closed tomorrow, and that's in a bid to minimise the risk to students across the state. You might be able to see behind me at St Michael's Primary School here in Blacktown, and also just down the road at Nagle College. They both have similar signs, electronic signs saying that because of the catastrophic fire danger rating forecast for tomorrow, their doors will be closed. In Sydney, areas like the Upper North Shore, also the Blue Mountains, the Hawkesbury region, southern and western suburbs are all going to be impacted by this. And this is because the RFS has deemed these schools and the location that they're in as at risk to bushfires. The New South Wales Education Minister, Sarah Mitchell, said that if you are curious about which schools are open or closed, you can go on the Education website. There is a list on there, and it will be updated regularly throughout the afternoon, with more schools likely to be added later in the day.
Charlotte, thank you.